The most powerful laws governing your existence were never written by any parliament or carved into any courthouse stone. They operate beyond human legislation, beyond governmental decree, beyond the artificial constructs of society. These are the immutable principles that have shaped reality since the dawn of creation itself, hidden in plain sight within the pages of an ancient Hermetic text known as the Kybalion. Yet here lies the crucial distinction that separates the awakened from the masses. Most encounter these 7 Hermetic principles as mere philosophical concepts, interesting intellectual curiosities to ponder during moments of spiritual contemplation. But what if these weren't simply ideas to contemplate? What if they were operational codes, functional algorithms embedded within the very fabric of existence, waiting to be activated and consciously directed by those who possess the keys to unlock their true potential? The difference between knowing these laws and wielding them is the difference between reading about fire and actually creating it. Today you will discover not just the 7 Hermetic principles, but the 7 secret keys that transform ancient wisdom into modern mastery, philosophy into protocol, and knowledge into power. If this revelation speaks to the depths of your seeking soul, ensure you subscribe and engage with this transmission, for we are about to embark upon a journey that will fundamentally alter your understanding of reality and your role as its conscious architect. The ancient Hermetic tradition understood something that modern civilization has largely forgotten. Reality is not a fixed, immutable structure that happens to you, but rather a dynamic, responsive system that flows through you and is shaped by your conscious participation. The Kybalion, that mysterious text attributed to the legendary Hermes Trismegistus, presented 7 fundamental principles that govern all manifestation across every plane of existence. Yet for centuries these teachings remained locked within the realm of theoretical mysticism, studied by scholars and contemplated by philosophers, but rarely translated into practical methodology for everyday transformation. This is where the Kybalion Protocol emerges as a revolutionary departure from passive spiritual study. Instead of merely understanding these principles intellectually, the protocol reveals how to engage them operationally, how to move from being a student of universal law to becoming a conscious practitioner of universal mastery. The 7 Hermetic principles are not suggestions or guidelines. They are the fundamental operating system of reality itself, as reliable and predictable as any law of physics. Just as you can learn to work with gravity rather than against it, you can learn to work with these Hermetic laws to create deliberate outcomes rather than remaining at the mercy of unconscious patterns. Each principle contains within it a specific key, a practical application that allows you to harness its power for conscious creation and personal transformation. These are not theoretical concepts, but practical tools, tested methodologies that bridge the gap between ancient wisdom and contemporary results. The first Hermetic principle declares that all is mind, that the universe is fundamentally mental in nature. This is not mere metaphysical speculation, but a recognition of the primary creative force that underlies all manifestation. Your thoughts are not simply private mental events occurring within the confines of your skull. They are active forces that shape and mold the fabric of your experienced reality. The mental blueprint technique represents the first secret key, a systematic method for consciously designing your desired reality with such precision and emotional intensity that the universal mind has no choice but to respond in kind. This technique requires you to move beyond casual wishful thinking into the realm of deliberate mental architecture. You begin by creating a detailed mental blueprint of your desired outcome, engaging all of your senses in the construction of this internal reality. You see it with crystal clarity, hear the sounds associated with its manifestation, feel the textures and temperatures, taste and smell the richness of this new reality. But the crucial element that transforms this from mere visualization into actual creation is the cultivation of the emotional state that would naturally accompany the fulfillment of this desire. You must feel the gratitude, the joy, the satisfaction, the peace that would arise from already possessing what you seek. This emotional component is the activating force that impresses your mental blueprint upon the universal mind, initiating the process of manifestation from the realm of possibility into the plane of physical experience. The second principle, correspondence, reveals that patterns repeat across all levels of existence, that your outer world serves as an exact mirror of your inner world. As above, so below. As within, so without. This law operates with mathematical precision, ensuring that your external circumstances always reflect your internal states with perfect accuracy. The inner world audit and alignment represents the second secret key, a systematic process for identifying and transforming the internal patterns that are creating your current external reality. This technique begins with radical honesty, a willingness to examine your habitual thought patterns, emotional states, and core beliefs without judgment or denial. You must recognize that every external condition in your life, whether desired or unwanted, has its corresponding internal cause. Financial struggle reflects internal beliefs about scarcity and unworthiness. Relationship conflicts mirror internal disharmony and unresolved emotional patterns. Health challenges correspond to mental and emotional stress patterns that have found expression in the physical body. Once you have identified these internal patterns, the alignment process begins. You consciously cultivate the internal states that correspond to your desired external conditions. If you seek abundance, you must cultivate the mental and emotional patterns of someone who lives abundantly. If you desire loving relationships, you must first establish a loving relationship with yourself. If you want vibrant health, you must align your thoughts and emotions with vitality and well-being. This is not about positive thinking or affirmations, but about genuine internal transformation that naturally reflects itself in external circumstances. The third principle recognizes that nothing in the universe remains static, that everything exists in constant motion and vibrates at specific frequencies. Your personal vibrational frequency determines what you attract and experience in your life, as like frequencies naturally resonate and draw together. The vibrational tuning fork method represents the third secret key, providing practical techniques for consciously raising your personal frequency to match the vibrational signature of your desires. Sound becomes a primary tool in this process, as specific tones and frequencies can directly influence your energetic state. Sacred mantras, toning exercises, and carefully selected music can literally retune your vibrational frequency. Affirmations become vibrational declarations when spoken with conviction and emotional resonance, not mere mental repetitions but vocal vibrations that reshape your energetic field. Emotional cultivation practices allow you to consciously choose and sustain higher frequency emotional states such as gratitude, love, joy, and peace, which naturally attract experiences that match these elevated vibrations. Specific meditation techniques designed to raise consciousness and expand awareness create sustained shifts in your baseline vibrational frequency. The key understanding is that you are not a victim of your current vibrational state, but the conscious creator of it, capable of deliberate frequency modulation that transforms your entire life experience. The fourth principle reveals that everything exists in polarity, that apparent opposites are actually different degrees of the same essential quality. Fear and courage are not separate emotions, but different points on the same emotional spectrum. Poverty and wealth are not opposite conditions, but varying degrees of the same fundamental energy. This understanding opens the door to conscious transmutation, the ability to transform unwanted states into desired ones by mentally shifting your position on the polar spectrum. The polarity shift technique represents the fourth secret key, a mental alchemy process that allows you to consciously slide up the scale from any unwanted state to its opposite pole. When experiencing fear, you recognize it not as a fixed condition, but as one end of a spectrum that includes courage at its opposite pole. Instead of trying to fight or eliminate the fear, you consciously shift your mental focus and emotional energy toward the courage end of the spectrum. This requires understanding that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of fear, to choose the higher pole of the emotional spectrum. The technique involves identifying the unwanted state, recognizing its polar opposite, and then systematically focusing your mental and emotional energy on progressively higher points along the spectrum until you reach the desired state. This is not mere positive thinking, but conscious manipulation of the polar forces that govern all experience. The fifth principle acknowledges the rhythmic nature of all existence, the constant ebb and flow, the rise and fall, the expansion and contraction that characterizes every aspect of universal manifestation. Understanding this rhythm allows you to navigate life's natural fluctuations with wisdom and skill, rather than being unconsciously tossed about by forces you do not comprehend. Rhythm riding and neutralization represents the fifth secret key, providing techniques for working with rather than against life's natural rhythms while maintaining your equilibrium and continuing your forward progress. Rhythm riding involves recognizing the natural cycles in your own life and energy, understanding when you are in a phase of expansion versus contraction, activity versus rest, giving versus receiving. Instead of forcing action during natural rest phases or becoming passive during natural activity phases, you align your efforts with your natural rhythms for maximum effectiveness and minimum resistance. The neutralization technique draws upon the Hermetic Law of neutralization, which states that you can rise above the negative swing of any pendulum through mental firmness and conscious choice. When you feel the downward pull of a natural cycle, instead of being carried into depression, discouragement, or inactivity, you use mental discipline to maintain your center, to neither resist the rhythm nor be controlled by it, but to transcend it through conscious awareness and deliberate response, rather than unconscious reaction. The sixth principle establishes that every cause produces its effect, and every effect has its cause, that nothing happens by chance, but everything follows the immutable law of causation. This principle reveals your true power as a conscious being, for through your thoughts, decisions, and actions, you are constantly setting causes in motion that will inevitably produce corresponding effects in your life. The conscious causation method represents the sixth secret key, a proactive approach to becoming the master of your destiny rather than the victim of past causes or random circumstances. This method requires you to take complete responsibility for your life as it currently exists, recognizing that your present circumstances are the effects of past causes that you have set in motion through your previous thoughts, beliefs, decisions, and actions. More importantly, it empowers you to become consciously selective about the causes you set in motion moving forward. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every decision you make, every action you take becomes a cause that will produce corresponding effects in your future experience. The conscious causation method involves deliberately choosing thoughts that will create the mental causes for your desired outcomes, making decisions that align with your intended destination rather than your current circumstances, and taking actions that serve as physical causes for the effects you wish to experience. This transforms you from someone who reacts to life into someone who creates life, from someone who experiences random events into someone who authors deliberate outcomes. The seventh principle recognizes that gender manifests on every plane of existence, not merely in the physical realm of biological reproduction, but as the fundamental creative forces that operate throughout all levels of reality. The masculine principle represents the active, initiating, penetrating force of will, logic, and directed action. The feminine principle embodies the receptive, nurturing, creative force of intuition, imagination, and magnetic attraction. Conscious creation requires the balanced and harmonious cooperation of both principles within your own being, regardless of your physical gender. The sacred inner union technique represents the seventh secret key, providing a method for consciously balancing and directing your inner masculine and feminine energies for powerful manifestation and co-creation. This technique begins with recognizing and honoring both aspects within yourself. Your inner masculine provides the focused will, the clear intention, the logical planning, and the persistent action required to bring desires into physical manifestation. Your inner feminine provides the intuitive knowing, the creative inspiration, the emotional magnetism, and the receptive allowing that draws opportunities and resources toward you. The sacred inner union involves consciously engaging both energies in your creative process. You use your masculine energy to set clear intentions, create specific plans, and take consistent action toward your goals. Simultaneously, you engage your feminine energy to remain open to unexpected opportunities, to trust your intuitive guidance, to cultivate the emotional states that magnetize your desires, and to allow manifestation to unfold in its perfect timing and manner. This is not about forcing or controlling, but about the dynamic dance between directed intention and open receptivity that characterizes all conscious creation. These 7 secret keys represent more than techniques or methods. They are the practical application of universal laws that have governed reality since the beginning of time. The ancient Hermetic masters understood these principles not as philosophical concepts, but as operational protocols for conscious living and deliberate creation. In a world that has forgotten its connection to these deeper laws, that has become obsessed with external manipulation while ignoring the internal sources of all power, this knowledge represents nothing less than a return to your true heritage as a conscious creator. The Kybalion provided the map. The Kybalion Protocol provides the vehicle. These 7 keys provide the ignition system that transforms potential into actuality, wisdom into power, understanding into manifestation. The time has come to move beyond merely knowing these laws to actively living them, beyond studying universal principles to wielding universal power. Each of these keys has been tested by countless practitioners across centuries of application. They work not because they are mystical or supernatural, but because they are natural extensions of how reality actually operates at its deepest levels. They are as reliable as gravity, as consistent as mathematics, as dependable as any scientific law. The difference is that these laws operate in the realm of consciousness and creation, rather than simply in the domain of physical matter. Your life, as it currently exists, is the result of your previous application or ignorance of these laws. Whether you have used them consciously or unconsciously, they have been operating through you and around you every moment of your existence. The question is not whether these laws are real or whether they work. The question is whether you will continue to use them unconsciously, creating random and often unwanted results, or whether you will learn to use them consciously, deliberately, and skillfully to create the life you truly desire. The 7 secret keys are now in your possession. The mental blueprint technique gives you the power to design your reality with conscious precision. The inner world audit and alignment provides the method for ensuring that your external world reflects your highest internal possibilities. The vibrational tuning fork method offers the tools for matching your frequency to your desires. The polarity shift technique grants you the ability to transmute any unwanted state into its desirable opposite. Rhythm riding and neutralization teaches you to work with universal rhythms while maintaining your centered power. The conscious causation method empowers you to become the deliberate author of your future, rather than the unconscious victim of your past. The sacred inner union technique reveals how to harness both your masculine and feminine creative energies for maximum manifestation power. The choice before you is simple yet profound. You can continue to live as though you are at the mercy of external forces, as though your thoughts have no power, as though your internal states have no connection to your external circumstances, as though you are a victim of chance and circumstance. Or you can begin today to apply these ancient keys to unlock the creative power that has always resided within you, waiting for your conscious recognition and deliberate application. Pick one key that resonates most strongly with your current needs and circumstances. Begin to practice it today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect, but right now in this moment. Apply it consistently for the next 30 days and witness for yourself how these ancient secrets can transform your modern life. Notice how your external world begins to shift and change as you apply these internal principles with conscious intention and persistent practice. The proof of these teachings lies not in intellectual understanding, but in practical application, not in theoretical study, but in actual results. Share this knowledge with others who are ready to awaken to their true creative power. For wisdom shared is wisdom multiplied, and power recognized is power activated. Comment below and let us know which of these 7 keys speaks most directly to your current situation and which technique you commit to practicing for the next 30 days. Your conscious engagement with this material helps to strengthen the field of awakening consciousness that is transforming our world from within. The time of unconscious living is ending. The era of conscious creation has begun. The keys are in your hands. The power has always been within you. The only question that remains is what you will choose to create.